Do you often buy a very fresh bunch of cilantro, use only a small amount, and then find that just a few days later, the rest has become soft, turned yellow, or started to develop an unpleasant smell? Cilantro is very fragrant and can make a dish more appealing with just a small amount. But it is also one of the herbs that loses moisture very easily, wilts quickly, and spoils if we leave it in the bag after bringing it home. Today, I will share 4 very simple ways to store cilantro with you. Some methods help keep cilantro ready to use fresh every day, while others allow us to store it in the freezer and use it gradually. Please watch until the end of the video so you can choose the method that best suits your family's cooking habits. First, I prepare some bunches of cilantro that are still fresh. When buying cilantro, you should choose bunches with green leaves, firm stems, and not too many yellow or bruised leaves. I gently remove any wilted leaves, soft stems, and damaged parts near the base. One bruised leaf or one that is beginning to rot can cause the nearby stems to spoil more quickly, so do not skip this inspection step. Now, I place the cilantro in a basin of clean water and wash it gently. The area near the base often holds quite a lot of dirt and sand, so I gently separate the stems to allow the water to clean each part. I do not rub or squeeze the cilantro roughly because the leaves are very soft and easily damaged. For the methods that involve storing the cilantro in a container or freezing it, the cilantro must be dried very thoroughly. I spread it out on a clean towel in a thin layer, then gently absorb all the water from the leaves and stems. You can also leave the cilantro in front of a fan for a while. Carefully check the areas where the leaves overlap, because even a small amount of water left behind can cause the cilantro to become slimy quickly when stored in a container. The first method. I prepare a clean, dry glass container. Before placing the cilantro inside, I put a layer of paper towel at the bottom of the container. This layer of paper towel will help absorb the excess moisture that appears during storage. However, the paper towel must be completely dry. We do not dampen it for this method. I arrange the cilantro in the container very gently. You should not pack too much cilantro into a small container because tightly compressed cilantro is more likely to become bruised, and air will have difficulty circulating between the stems. Once the cilantro has been arranged, I place another layer of dry paper towel over the top, then close the lid tightly. I place this container in the refrigerator. When I need to use the cilantro, I take out only the amount I need, then quickly close the lid and return the container to the refrigerator. After a few days, open the container and check it. If the paper towel has become very damp, replace it with a new, dry sheet of paper towel. At the same time, immediately remove any leaves that have begun to change color so they do not affect the remaining cilantro. This method is very convenient if you often use cilantro for salads, sandwiches, egg dishes, tacos, or for sprinkling over food after it has finished cooking. The most important thing is that the cilantro must be completely dry before it is placed in the container. If the cilantro still contains a lot of water, the paper towel will quickly become wet, and the cilantro may become slimy instead of staying fresh. The second method. I prepare a clean sheet of paper towel, quickly dip it in water, and then wring it out thoroughly. The paper towel only needs to be slightly damp. It should not be so wet that water drips from it. Now, I gather the cilantro stems together and wrap the damp paper towel around the lower ends of the stems. I wrap only the stems and do not cover the leaves with the paper towel. The slight moisture around the stems helps prevent the cilantro from losing moisture too quickly, while the leaves remain dry. If the paper towel is too wet or touches the leaves, the cilantro may quickly become soft and slimy. After wrapping the stems, I place the bunch of cilantro in a clean bag or a long container. I do not compress the cilantro tightly, and I do not press all the air out of the bag. The leaves need enough space so they do not become bruised. I place the cilantro in the refrigerator and check the paper towel every few days. If the paper towel has become completely dry, I can dampen it again. If it develops an odor or becomes stained, I replace it immediately with a new paper towel. This method is simple, does not require cutting the cilantro into small pieces, and is very convenient if you want to keep the cilantro stems looking beautiful for garnishing dishes. If the bunch of cilantro is too large, you should divide it into 2 smaller portions. A bunch that is too thick will trap a lot of moisture in the center and make it difficult for us to notice leaves that have already spoiled. The third method. For this portion of cilantro, I have already washed it and dried it completely. I place the cilantro on a cutting board and cut it into small pieces that are convenient to use. You can use both the leaves and the tender parts of the stems because cilantro stems also have a very noticeable aroma. However, I remove the old, tough parts near the base or any parts that have changed color. When cutting, I do not chop the cilantro too finely. Pieces that are too small are more likely to become bruised, release a lot of moisture, and freeze into one solid clump. I prepare a container with a tightly fitting lid that is suitable for use in the freezer. The container must be completely clean and dry. I place the chopped cilantro in the container and gently spread it into a relatively even layer. You should not press the cilantro down too tightly because once it is frozen, it will be very difficult to take out small portions. If you have a large amount of cilantro, you can divide it between 2 or 3 small containers. This is much more convenient than placing everything in one large container and having to open it many times. I close the lid tightly, write the freezing date on the container, and then place it in the freezer. When I need to use it, I take out only the amount of cilantro I need with a clean, dry spoon, then close the container again immediately. You should not leave the entire container of cilantro outside for too long and then put it back in the freezer, because repeated changes in temperature will affect the quality of the cilantro. Frozen cilantro will no longer be crisp like fresh cilantro. When thawed, the leaves will become softer, so this method is best suited for soups, stews, curries, sauces, stir-fried dishes, or other dishes that are cooked hot. You do not need to thaw the cilantro beforehand. Simply take it directly from the freezer and add it to the dish near the end of the cooking process. This way, the cilantro will retain its aroma better. The fourth method. This is a method I really like because the cilantro has already been divided into small portions. Each time I cook, I only need to take out 1 or 2 cubes without having to open a large container of cilantro. I continue using the cilantro that has been washed, dried, and chopped. I place the cilantro into each compartment of an ice cube tray. You do not need to pack the compartments too full. Simply add an amount that is suitable for each time you cook. I use the tip of a spoon to press the cilantro down gently so that it fits neatly into each compartment. Then, I pour a small amount of clean water into each compartment, just enough to hold the pieces of cilantro together. There is no need to fill the water all the way to the top of the tray because the water will expand slightly when it freezes. Now, I place the tray in the freezer on a flat surface. When the cilantro cubes are completely frozen, I remove them from the tray and transfer them to a bag or a container with a tightly fitting lid. Doing this frees up the ice cube tray and also helps the cilantro cubes absorb fewer odors from other foods in the freezer. These cilantro cubes are very convenient for soups, stews, broth, curries, cooked beans, rice, or sauces. You only need to drop a cilantro cube directly into the hot pot. The water will melt, and the cilantro will be distributed evenly throughout the dish. If your family usually cooks small portions, use a tray with small compartments. If you often cook large pots of soup, you can use a tray with larger compartments. You can also adjust the amount of cilantro in each cube according to your cooking habits. This helps us avoid taking out more than the amount we need and reduces waste. What about you? What dishes do you usually use cilantro in? Please share with me in the comments and let me know which country you are watching Merry Home from. I am always very happy to read what you share.